Top 10 Rolex watches, which is best for you? Time, it's the one thing money can't buy. Yet the way we choose to measure it says a lot about who we are. And when it comes to watches, there's one name that stands above the rest: Rolex. From boardrooms to racetracks, from the depths of the ocean to the peak of Everest, Rolex has been the companion of legends. But here's the question: with so many iconic models, which Rolex is right for you? Today, we're counting down the top 10 Rolex watches you should know about. And by the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer idea of which masterpiece fits your lifestyle, your personality, and maybe even your dreams. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you never miss a story of luxury and legacy. And if you enjoy this journey, give it a like and share it with a fellow watch enthusiast. Trust me, they'll thank you later. Ranked 10th, Rolex Air King. At number 10, we begin with a model that many people overlook, yet it carries one of the richest stories in the Rolex family, the Rolex Air King. Born in the 1940s during the golden age of aviation, the Air King was Rolex's tribute to the brave pilots of World War II. These were men who navigated across uncharted skies with little more than their instincts, courage, and a reliable timepiece on their wrist. Hans Wilsdorf, the visionary founder of Rolex, wanted to honor them with a watch that was simple, bold, and timeless. And so the Air King was born. Unlike the flashier models in the Rolex lineup, the Air King doesn't shout for attention. Its clean dial, oversized numerals, and distinctive green and yellow Rolex logo give it a unique personality, quiet confidence. It's the kind of watch for someone who doesn't need to prove anything, because their actions already speak louder than words. Today, the Air King has evolved with modern engineering, but it still carries that spirit of adventure. It's durable, precise, and versatile enough to wear with a suit in the boardroom or a leather jacket in the cockpit. If you're someone who values heritage, understated design, and a story that takes you back to the skies, the Air King might just be your perfect entry point into the world of Rolex. Ranked 9th, Rolex Yacht-Master. At number 9, we set sail with a watch born from the waves, the Rolex Yacht-Master. If the Air King was a tribute to the pioneers of the skies, then the Yacht-Master is Rolex's love letter to the endless blue horizon of the sea. First introduced in the early 1990s, the Yacht-Master is one of the few Rolex models that was not originally designed for survival or extreme exploration, but instead as a symbol of leisure, success, and the thrill of competition. While the Submariner was built for divers who plunged into the mysterious depths, the Yacht-Master was crafted for those who command the surface: skippers, sailors, and adventurers whose hearts belong to the open ocean. Its bi-directional bezel, often sculpted from platinum or Everose gold, isn't just a tool for timing. It reflects light like waves catching the sun. The bold hour markers and chromolite luminescence glow with a soft blue hue in the dark, like stars guiding sailors across midnight waters. On the wrist, it's as comfortable with a spray of salt water as it is clinking a glass of champagne on the deck of a yacht. But here's the secret: you don't have to own a yacht to own a Yacht-Master. This watch speaks to anyone who dreams of freedom, who longs for horizons yet to be conquered, who sees life not as a routine, but as a voyage. Wearing it is like carrying a reminder that time, like the tide, is ever moving, and the adventure is always waiting just beyond the shore. Ranked 8th, Rolex Explorer II. At number 8, we trade the open seas for the unknown edges of the earth, the Rolex Explorer II. This is not a watch made for cocktail parties or red carpets. No, the Explorer II is for the men and women who disappear into caves, who trek across frozen tundras, and who venture where sunlight can vanish for months at a time. Born in 1971, the Explorer II was designed with one mission: to guide those who explore places where day and night lose their meaning. Its most distinctive feature, the bright 24-hour orange hand, was not just a splash of color, but a lifeline. Imagine being deep inside a cavern or above the Arctic Circle, where darkness can last for weeks. That orange hand told explorers whether it was day or night, keeping them tethered to reality when the environment blurred all sense of time. The rugged 42mm case, brushed steel finish, and fixed bezel etched with 24-hour markers give it an unmistakably tough appearance. It isn't flashy, it's purposeful. The Explorer 2 doesn't beg for attention, it commands respect. This is the Rolex for those who thrive in extremes, who see obstacles as invitations, who know that the edge of comfort is where real life begins. Whether you're a mountaineer, a spelunker, or simply someone who believes every day is an expedition, the Explorer 2 is your constant reminder. The world is vast and adventure still calls. Ranked 7th, Rolex Datejust. At number 7, we arrive at a watch that needs no introduction, the Rolex Datejust. If the Submariner is the adventurer and the Daytona the racer, then the Datejust is the gentleman or gentlewoman of the Rolex family. It is perhaps the most versatile Rolex ever created, a watch that moves seamlessly from the office to a wedding, from a casual dinner to the world stage. First unveiled in 1945 to celebrate Rolex's 40th anniversary, the Datejust was groundbreaking. It was the first automatic wristwatch to feature a date window that changed instantly at midnight, a feature we now take for granted, but at the time, it was revolutionary. Paired with the now iconic Jubilee bracelet, it became a symbol of refinement and innovation. The Datejust is a chameleon. Available in countless sizes, materials, dials, and bezels, it can be as understated as stainless steel with a smooth bezel, or as glamorous as two-tone gold with diamonds on the dial. That flexibility makes it the Rolex of choice for both men and women, young professionals and seasoned leaders alike. It has graced the wrists of presidents, celebrities, and everyday achievers. But beyond its famous wearers, the Datejust carries something deeper: timelessness. Trends may come and go, but the Datejust has remained stylish for nearly 80 years. It's not just a watch, it's a declaration of enduring elegance, a promise that true style never fades with time. Ranked 6th, Rolex Sea Dweller. At number 6, we dive beneath the waves, into a world of pressure, darkness, and silence. This is the territory of the Rolex Sea Dweller, a watch built not for style alone, but for survival in the most hostile environment on Earth, the deep sea. Born in 1967, the Sea Dweller was created in partnership with professional saturation divers who needed a watch that could withstand depths that ordinary watches, and even the legendary Submariner, couldn't survive. The innovation that set it apart was the helium escape valve, a small but life-saving detail. During prolonged deep-sea dives, tiny helium molecules would seep into dive watches and, during decompression, could cause crystals to pop off. Rolex solved this problem with a valve that allowed gas to escape while keeping the watch perfectly sealed. With a water resistance rating that began at 610 meters and, in modern versions, extends to a staggering 1,220 meters and even 3,900 meters in the deep-sea variant, the Sea Dweller is more than a tool. It's a triumph of engineering. On the wrist, it looks and feels robust, with its larger case and bold presence. But this isn't the watch for someone who wants to blend in at dinner. It's for the man or woman who embraces extremes, who feels at home in pressure, who thrives where others retreat. The Sea Dweller is a reminder that even in the crushing darkness of the deep, human ingenuity and courage still shine. Ranked 5th, Rolex GMT-Master II. At number 5, we take flight into the jet age with the Rolex GMT-Master II, the ultimate traveler's watch. Born in the 1950s during the golden era of aviation, it was created for Pan Am pilots navigating long-haul flights across multiple time zones. For the first time in history, commercial planes could connect continents in a matter of hours. And the GMT-Master was there on the wrists of the men who made the world feel smaller. The two-tone bezel split into day and night. The earliest version came in red and blue, the now famous Pepsi bezel, later followed by the striking black and blue Batman, among others. With a simple glance, pilots could read both their home time and the local time of their destination. For globetrotters, businessmen, and adventurers, it was more than a tool. It was freedom on the wrist. The GMT-Master II continues this legacy today with a robust oyster case, 100-meter water resistance, and the ability to track 3 time zones simultaneously. It isn't just for pilots anymore. It's for anyone who lives across borders, whose life is defined by movement, who understands that time is both personal and global. Wearing a GMT-Master II isn't just about keeping track of hours. It's about carrying the spirit of exploration, of crossing frontiers, of never standing still. It's a Rolex for citizens of the world. Ranked fourth, Rolex Day-Date. At number 4, we arrive at a watch that doesn't just measure time, it defines it. The Rolex Day-Date, better known as the President, is more than a piece of fine horology. It is an icon of power, prestige, and influence, worn by leaders who shaped history and visionaries who guided the world. When Rolex introduced the Day-Date in 1956, it was revolutionary. For the first time ever, a wristwatch could display not only the date, but also the day of the week spelled out in full, available in more than 24 languages. It was a practical innovation, but also a statement. This was a watch designed for decision makers, for people whose every hour mattered, whose schedules shaped nations and industries. Over the decades, it has been seen on the arms of presidents, prime ministers, CEOs, and cultural icons. Not just in America, but across the globe, it became a silent symbol of authority and success. Unlike other Rolex models, the Day-Date has never been produced in stainless steel. It comes only in precious metals, yellow gold, white gold, Everose gold, and platinum. On the wrist, it radiates quiet power, never shouting, but always commanding attention. The Day-Date isn't flashy, it's dignified. It's the watch of the boardroom, the parliament, the world stage. It speaks of legacy, of responsibility, of carrying the weight of decisions that shape the future. Wearing a Day-Date is not just about telling the time. It's about telling the world who you are. It says you've earned your place, and with every tick, it reminds you that leadership is measured not only in minutes, but in moments of impact. Ranked third, Rolex Explorer Y. At number 3, we have the Rolex Explorer I, a watch born from mankind's greatest adventure. In 1953, Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay stood on the summit of Mount Everest, the roof of the world. On their wrists were Rolex Oyster watches, battle-tested against the ice, wind, and thin air. From that triumph came the Explorer I, designed for those who seek new frontiers. The Explorer is simplicity at its finest. Its black dial, bold 3 to 6 to 9 numerals, and luminous hands ensure absolute legibility in any condition. No rotating bezel, no date complication, no ornamentation, just a clear, rugged design built for reliability. The oyster steel case and smooth bezel make it understated, but unmistakably purposeful. What makes the Explorer special is not luxury, but spirit. It's a watch for climbers, trekkers, travelers, anyone who thrives on challenge. Where other Rolex models shine in boardrooms or banquets, the Explorer feels at home on a mountain ridge, a jungle trail, or a city street at dawn. This is the Rolex for people who measure time not in hours, but in experiences. The Explorer. It doesn't shout prestige, it whispers resilience. On your wrist, it's more than a watch. It's a reminder that there are always new heights to conquer, and the journey is just as important as the summit. Ranked second, Rolex Cosmograph Daytona. At number 2, we meet a true legend of the racing world, the Rolex Cosmograph Daytona. Introduced in 1963, this watch was built for one purpose: precision on the track. With its chronograph subdials and tachymeter bezel, it allowed drivers to calculate average speed with a quick glance, turning every lap into a test of both skill and timing. Named after the Daytona International Speedway, this model quickly became inseparable from the spirit of motorsport. But its fame soared even higher thanks to one man, Paul Newman. The actor and racing enthusiast wore his Daytona so often that his name became forever linked to the model. Today, a Paul Newman Daytona is one of the most coveted and valuable watches on the planet, with one record-breaking auction sale surpassing $17 million. What makes the Daytona so desirable isn't just its racing pedigree, but its balance of toughness and elegance. The clean dial layout, robust oyster case, and unmistakable style make it equally at home on the racetrack or at a gala dinner. Available in steel, gold, and platinum, it is the watch collector's dream of, an enthusiast's chase for years. The Daytona isn't just a Rolex. It's speed, prestige, and history on the wrist. A timepiece that proves legends are not only made, they're worn. In first place, Rolex Submariner. And at number one, we arrive at the king of them all, the Rolex Submariner. More than a watch, the Submariner is an icon. It is the timepiece that not only defined Rolex, but defined the modern sports watch itself. Launched in 1953, the Submariner was the first wristwatch waterproof to a depth of 100 meters. Built for divers but admired far beyond the sea, it was engineered to survive where humans barely could. Its rotating bezel allowed divers to measure oxygen time, its oyster case kept the movement safe from crushing depths, and its luminous markers glowed like beacons in the dark. But the Submariner's fame didn't stop underwater. It leapt into popular culture, becoming James Bond's watch of choice in the early films, worn by Sean Connery as 007. From then on, the Submariner was not just a diver's tool, but a symbol of cool, of danger, of timeless style. Over 70 years later, the Submariner remains the most recognizable Rolex in the world. Whether in stainless steel, gold, or with a green Hulk dial, it continues to embody toughness, elegance, and adventure in one perfect design. The Submariner is more than the ultimate Rolex, it's the ultimate watch. On the wrist, it doesn't just tell time. It tells a story of exploration, of legacy, of immortality. This is the legend, and there you have it. The top 10 Rolex watches that have shaped history, defined style, and captured the imagination of generations. From the understated elegance of the Air King, to the power of the Day-Date, to the eternal legend of the Submariner, each Rolex tells a story of adventure, of ambition, of achievement. What makes Rolex truly extraordinary is that it isn't just about luxury, it's about identity. When you choose a Rolex, you're not simply choosing a watch. You're choosing a companion that reflects who you are and who you aspire to become. Whether you see yourself as an explorer, a leader, a traveler, or a dreamer, there's a Rolex that feels like it was built just for you. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 spoke to your heart? Which one would you wear if you had the chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading your stories. And if you enjoyed this journey into the world of Rolex, don't forget to subscribe, tap the bell icon so you never miss our next countdown, and share this video with a friend who dreams of owning a Rolex someday. Because at the end of the day, time is the most precious thing we have. Why not measure it with a legend?